Hey everyone! Welcome to the Bold and Beautiful 24. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. Liam gets shot and shoots Luna, a story I never thought I'd tell. I never thought I'd be in the middle of something like this. I mean, who does? You go through your life thinking you understand the people around you, that you know what they're capable of. And then one moment changes everything. It started at the beach house. Not a peaceful day, not one of those sunny, perfect California afternoons I used to take for granted. No, this day was different. I wasn't there at first, but I've pieced everything together since. The calls, the texts, the blood, and the silence that followed. Sheila and Luna were already arguing when things got out of hand. That much I know. Sheila, yeah, that Sheila, had shown up to confront her granddaughter, probably thinking she could stop her from doing something reckless. But Luna had snapped. Something inside her had completely unraveled. They struggled over a gun, and it went off. The shot echoed through the beach house like thunder. Sheila collapsed to the ground, gasping, blood blooming across her shoe. But she wasn't gone. She was still conscious, still breathing, her eyes darting around in panic and pain. And Luna. Luna turned that gun on Steffy. Steffy, the woman I've loved and lost more times than I can count, the mother of my child. She knelt beside Sheila, trying to help, trying to make sense of what had just happened. "You shot your grandmother!" she screamed at Luna. She reached for her phone to call for help. But Luna wouldn't let her. She aimed the gun at Steffy and shouted, "Put the phone down! This is all your fault. This happened because of you." I can only imagine the fear in Steffy's eyes in that moment. The fury, too. Steffy's strong, fierce, and not someone who backs down easily. But facing a loaded gun? Knowing the woman behind it had already pulled the trigger once? That kind of fear goes deeper than anything I can describe. Meanwhile, somewhere across town, Finn was in his office with his mother, Lee. They were talking about Luna, about how she wasn't born dangerous, that it was Poppy's fault. That poor parenting had turned her into someone unpredictable, someone they couldn't trust. Finn was angry. Rightfully so. He didn't want Luna anywhere near his family again. And when Lee left, he sat there alone, processing everything. He texted Steffy, trying to check in, not knowing what was already happening at the beach house. Then he got a voicemail from Sheila, an urgent message about Luna. "Please, just call me," she said. But it was already too late. Back at Forrester, Hope was on the phone with me. I was outside the cliff house, watching the waves crash, trying to find some kind of peace in the chaos that had become my life. Hope called to check on me, worried, loving, gentle as always. I teased her a little, trying to keep things light. She hated what I was going through. Hated the thought of losing me. I hated it too. I told her I wasn't going anywhere. Not yet, anyway. That I'd be there tomorrow. That I'd be there for as many tomorrows as I could manage. We talked about roller skating with Beth in the morning, about memories we still had left to make. We disconnected just as Carter walked into her office. He pulled her into a hug as she cried, struggling to accept that I might not be around forever. Carter told her it was okay to stay in denial for a while. But she felt like she had to face it, for Beth's sake. Still, how do you prepare for something like that? How do you say goodbye to someone you love while they're still standing right in front of you? She talked about how unfair it was. How I should be able to walk Beth down the aisle one day. How I should live long enough to hold my grandchild. Carter tried to comfort her. He said I'd want her to focus on the good memories, to remember the happy moments, not the loss. But it wasn't enough. Not for Hope. Not for me. Not for any of us. Back in his office, Finn listened to more of Sheila's message. Her voice trembled as she begged him not to ignore the danger Luna posed. She warned him to be careful. When he tried to call her back, she didn't answer. That's when his phone rang. It was me. I couldn't get a hold of Steffy. Something in my gut told me something was wrong. I told Finn, and he said Sheila had just warned him about Luna too. He was worried, really worried. He knew Steffy was at the beach house. I told him I was closer. I'd go. He just said, "Get there." I'm worried about my wife. When I pulled up to the beach house, I knew instantly something was wrong. The door was slightly ajar. The silence inside was deafening. And then I heard Steffi's voice. And Luna's. I burst through that door just in time to see Luna raising the gun. Steffy looked terrified. Sheila was still bleeding. And Luna, she was about to do something she couldn't ever take back. I didn't think. I just acted. I lunged at her, tried to wrestle the gun away. A shot rang out, and I felt it tear through me. The pain was sharp, searing. I staggered back, clutching my side as Steffi screamed my name. Luna shouted again, blaming Steffi for everything. She raised the gun a second time. That's when Sheila, bleeding and weak, grabbed a basket of crayons and knocked it off the table, scattering them across the floor. It distracted Luna just enough. I found the strength to throw myself at her again. This time, I got the gun. She laughed in my face. "You're going to stop me," she sneered. "You don't have the guts." I was shaking, bleeding, afraid. But I looked her in the eyes and said, "I'm a dead man anyway." And I pulled the trigger. She lunged at me in that exact moment, and then she fell. Just like that. She collapsed to the floor, motionless. I dropped the gun and fell right beside her, the pain overtaking me. That's when Finn arrived. He looked around at the scene, the blood, the fear, the wreckage of everything we thought we'd escaped. "Did Sheila?" he started. Steffi shook her head. "No. It was Luna." Sheila spoke, her voice soft and broken. "I'm okay. Help Liam." Steffi called 911, her voice trembling as Finn rushed to my side. I looked up at him, barely able to speak. I managed one word, "Steffi, safe." And then everything faded into white. I don't know how long I was out. Minutes, hours, days. Time has a strange way of slipping through your fingers when you're caught between life and death. But I remember flashes, voices, lights, the sound of the ocean fading into nothing. Then there was warmth. Not comforting warmth. Burning. A fire in my side that pulsed with every heartbeat. And somewhere in the haze, I heard Steffi's voice. Desperate. Crying. "Stay with me, Liam. Please stay with me." Her hands were on my face, trembling. Her eyes locked onto mine like she could keep me tethered to this world with just a look. And maybe she did. Maybe that's why I'm still here, breathing, speaking, remembering. Finn's face appeared above me next, focused and pale. His hands pressed hard on my wound, trying to stop the bleeding. "You're going to be okay," he said. He was lying. Not out of malice. Not to give me false hope. But because in that moment, we all needed to believe something. We needed someone to be okay. And I guess I was the one they were betting on. The sirens came next. Red and blue lights flashing against the white walls of the beach house. Paramedics burst in, voices calm but urgent. I felt myself being lifted, strapped, rolled, rushed. And just before I blacked out again, I remember thinking, did I really just kill someone? When I woke up again, I was in a hospital bed. Everything smelled like antiseptic and plastic, and the beeping of machines filled the room like a slow, steady metronome. I couldn't move much. My side was bandaged tight, and every breath hurt like hell. But I was alive. And Luna wasn't. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I could feel it in my bones, in my chest. Something inside me had shifted, like a door slammed shut forever. I'd taken a life. No matter the circumstances, no matter the fact that I was trying to save someone else, that's not something you walk away from unchanged. Steffi was the first one I saw. She sat beside my bed, holding my hand, her eyes puffy and red. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "You're here," I whispered. "I never left," she said, her voice cracking. "You saved my life, Liam." I wanted to tell her it didn't feel like a victory, that the guilt was already choking me from the inside. But I couldn't. My throat was too dry. My thoughts too tangled. So I just held her hand. Finn came in not long after, and he looked different too. Quieter. Like the weight of what had happened had aged him overnight. He checked my vitals, mumbled something about recovery, and then just stood there, staring. "She was my sister," he finally said. I nodded slowly. There was nothing else I could say. "She was sick," he went on. "Not just emotionally. Something in her broke. Maybe a long time ago. I didn't want to see it, but Sheila did. She warned me, and I didn't listen in time. I wanted to apologize, but even that felt hollow. What does 'I'm sorry' mean when someone's blood is on your hands?" The next few days blurred together. Painkillers, bandage changes, visits from people I hadn't heard from in months. Ridge stopped by. So did Hope, holding Beth tightly, both of them trying to be brave. Hope's face crumpled the moment she saw me. She sat at my bedside, brushing my hair off my forehead like she used to when things were simpler, when our biggest problems were custody schedules and boardroom dramas. "You shouldn't have been the one to pay the price for this," she whispered. "You always try to protect everyone. Even now." I looked into her eyes, and for a second, I saw that old version of us. The one before life got so complicated. Before I started drifting like a man, constantly choosing between two homes. Two women. Two futures. I didn't deserve either of them. But they both kept showing up for me anyway. Luna's funeral came quickly. There wasn't much fanfare. Just a quiet service, closed casket, very few in attendance. Poppy didn't come. I don't think she could bear it. I didn't go either. Couldn't. My body wasn't ready, and neither was my soul. Instead, I lay in that hospital bed, listening to the rain tapping against the window, wondering how a girl who just wanted love ended up dying with a gun in her hand. And Sheila, as strange as it still feels to say this, she actually tried to protect us. She took a bullet. Granted, it was just her foot, but still. She stepped into chaos to keep her granddaughter from making a fatal mistake. I never thought I'd see the day where Sheila Carter became the one yelling, "Put the gun down." I don't know what that says about the world we live in. Maybe it just means we're all capable of change. Or maybe it means the world's gone upside down. Recovery was slow. Not just physically, but emotionally. I kept having nightmares, reliving the moment I pulled the trigger. Sometimes I saw Luna's face. Other times it was someone else. Steffy. Hope. Beth. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, heart racing, convinced I'd done something terrible all over again. Therapy helped. Not as much as I wanted it to, but enough to keep me upright. I started writing things down. Letters to Beth. Letters to Steffy. Letters to Luna. I never planned on sending any of them. It was just a way to bleed out the guilt without bleeding for real. And through it all, Steffy never left my side. "I'm not here because I owe you," she said one night, after catching me crying when I thought she was asleep. "I'm here because I care about you. And because you saved my life." I squeezed her hand. Said nothing. Hope brought Beth by often. Watching her made everything hurt and heal at the same time. She'd curl up on the hospital bed next to me, play games on her tablet, braid my hair when I dozed off. Once, she looked at the scar on my side and said, "That's your superhero mark now." I almost lost it right there. Because in her eyes, I was still someone strong. Someone good. And maybe that's the version of me I want to fight to be. Not the man who shot someone, but the man who lived through it, and came out still loving. Still showing up. Still trying.